If you are a parent of a young child and your child shows an interest in learning about something, anything, chances are you're going to do whatever you can to nurture that interest. Even if you suspect the child won't stay interested in this thing forever, even if you don't really see that it's probably going to be what they do for a living, even if they don't have any real predisposed talent or gift in the area in question, you're still probably going to say, cool, let's go for it. Let's give it a try. I'm in. I'm with you. How can I help? I think this is intuitive for us as we support our youngest learners in their educational journeys. Somewhere along the way, though, we tend to flip our philosophy and we tend to change from having our educational offerings being more student-directed to being much more dictated by the adults that are in the picture. So students, of course, are often told what courses they must take, but they're also told at what level they are allowed to take them. And this is when the inequities associated with tracking start to appear in our educational system. But what if we had a model where students were allowed all the way through their time with us at Shaker without any discouragement to go where their curiosity led them? Especially, what if we were unflinchingly supportive of students who are curious about taking higher level courses and exploring higher level subjects? What if we encourage them to try and to explore their interests with no judgment, no limits? And what if we as educators interpreted our role as being that of the student supporters and biggest fans rather than as the gatekeepers for these very high level courses and offerings that we have in our district? A few years ago, I did an experiment in my mixed level string orchestra class. First thing I did was I allowed my students to choose, completely self-select whether they wanted to take the course at the core or the honors level. The other thing that I did was I completely redesigned my grading and my assessment protocols. So the students were all given the same music, the same material, the same assignments, the same amount of work, the same assessments, and they were all assessed on the same rubric using the same standards. The only difference between core and honors was the honor students had to hit higher targets on the rubric in order to receive an A. So these students collaborated, they played together, they learned side by side, they put on concerts together, they traveled, they went to competitions. All of it was a shared experience, and a rigorous one at that. And the students who elected to take the course for honors credit had to push themselves a little bit harder. And the choice for how hard they wanted to push themselves was entirely theirs. There were numerous benefits to this approach, and some really cool things happened. The first thing that happened, much to my delight, was once I got this off the ground, more students started signing up for honors credit, which is a wonderful thing. Also, since more students started signing up for honors credit, I had to realize there were students who signed up, and in signing up, they were showing that they had aspirations and goals for themselves of which I was previously unaware, right? These students wanted and craved the opportunity to dig deeper and to push themselves harder and to get better faster. And I couldn't help but admit to myself that if I were the one in charge of assigning them to one level or the other based on what I knew about them as students and players, I would have been getting it wrong. And I would have been doing a profound disservice to some of these wonderfully motivated learners. The other thing that happened was it was stunning to me how the course division, core versus honors, broke down in terms of race. So if, just take last year, for example, 2019, if you took all of my students enrolled in string orchestra, 59% of them were Black. When you took the subset of students in string orchestra who elected to take the course for honors level and opted for the more rigorous experience in terms of assessments, 57% of those students were Black. It was an almost exact match, completely representative of the larger community of students. We all want for our students to achieve at the highest level possible for them while maintaining a love and a motivation for learning. I've found that a really effective way to do that is to make sure that the most rigorous experiences, the deepest levels of understanding, right? The path to getting profoundly better and getting smarter and more knowledgeable, the path not only to success but to excellence, needs to be made available to all students at all times without penalty and without judgment. And for this to work, we as adults have to take a step back, allow students to self-assess, allow students to reflect, and allow them to be more the curators of their own educational experience, allow them to grow and to change, and allow them to determine for themselves to what depths they want to dive into the content that interests them. And we need to be comfortable and remain supportive even when students choose to dive deeply into content in which they may not have a strong track record. Let them try. And then we spend our energy and our focus and our expertise in the content areas to support them in their efforts. I really believe that no teaching staff, no administration, no community is more capable of accomplishing this than Shaker Heights.